Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
All right, I want to say hello and welcome. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I am Hey Ape, and you are coming in live. I just want to say thank you for tuning in to another edition of Fun Facts and Trivia. If you've never been to the program before, I actually do a program based on music, film, and TV. Yep, that is true. So if you ever played a trivia game, you get a little short snippet of either sound or music. And what I actually like to say is this is more of not just trivia, but it is an education component that you will learn about rock. You will learn about appreciation of music, film, and TV. I will talk or ask you a few questions, and then you can drop in the comments what you see and what you hear. All right, so like I said, let's go ahead and welcome. So what in the world is Hey Ape? Well, I am Hey Ape. I do marketing for local businesses, and this is a fun little spot to actually give a shout out to a lot of the local businesses that I do marketing for. All right, let's get to it. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the term classic rock. Well, I have some classic rock right up your alley tonight, and we're going to play little snippets. Now, I'm going to also educate you. So we're going to play just maybe 6 seconds of the music, and then you can tune in and be able to, or you can, if you want, you can leave in the comments and let me know if you know what song this is. All right, here you go. All right, guys, here's your clue right here. All right, so there's a little intro into what Fun Facts and Trivia is all about. So the whole reason that I started Fun Facts and Trivia was to do giveaways to support local businesses. So that's what this little jam is all about. So if you are not familiar with that music, that is Steve Miller. Now, here's something interesting about classic rock. If you are not familiar with classic rock actually, I would say it would be in the genre of the late 1970s into the 80s that was able to have a lot of classic rock. Now, if you want to talk musicians and music at that time, we are talking Steve Miller, we are talking Aerosmith, we are talking Queen. So, how many of you from that era remember a lot of really great music? Now, if you think about it, these musicians have performed for over 40 years to a lot of, you will actually be listening to films. One thing I have to say is that I do have a background in filmmaking, and one thing that really makes a statement is when you were watching film. I mean, imagine this. Could you imagine, this music playing in a horror film? Music sets the tone not only for marketing, but it sets the tone for everything in life. I want to say it's more of like touch and feel moment, because it touches your life and it creates memories and you talk about it. And when it creates memories, it's something that you can talk about with family members, business, coworkers, but more importantly, it creates memories for you and it makes you think how you feel during that time. And, if you grew up like a 70s kid, an 80s kid, you always hear about growing up 80s kids. What about 60s and 70s, 50s kids? So we have a wide variety of people that come to my program from every age. It does not matter what age you are, because age and music, they mean nothing other than what you listen to and what you associate with. And that's why music plays such a powerful part of like film, or just in your day to day. You're going down the road and you hear a jingle, and how many times have you been going and you're like, oh my gosh, I literally cannot get that jingle out of my head? Well, that's why music plays such an intricate part. All right, here's another one right here. All right, we're going to stop it right there. So I made a mistake. On the very first track that I played, it was actually BTO. BTO stands for Bachman Turner Overdrive. This right here is Steve Miller. Now, if you are not familiar with Steve Miller Band had a lot of classic rock hits. So they had Jungle Love, The Joker. Maybe one of my favorites is actually Jetliner. Great. That's actually a great song to bring back a lot of classic rock memories. All right. So we're talking, sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. So we're going to talk right around 1976 is about when we're going to say 1976 is when this genre started right here. All right, I'm going to play another little clip here for you. All right, so here's something interesting about this little snippet right here. So if you've ever heard the term blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, D-U-C-E, deuce in a roar in the night. Now, this song what's iconic about this song is when you talk about lyrics, we're talking just lyrics of songs. This is one of the most lyrically misquoted song that has ever been written. And there's been a lot of misquoted songs. So this is actually, so this is very iconic to the classic rock scene. All right, we're going to move on. Now, here's something interesting about this particular song, or this bit right here. Okay, we're going to stop it right here. So this particular, and I'm going to actually play another just few seconds of the very beginning of the song right here. right, so we're going to stop right there. Now, if you hear that bump, all right, so here's another really great, so here is actually another really great band that came from the classic rock era. Now, the reason that I really do love to talk about classic rock is because there's so much expression from the art that has come from these artists over time. And like I said, so the band is called Boston. Now, if you are not familiar with Boston, you probably remember songs like More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind. We also have Foreplay. And what's funny, we also have Rock and Roll Band, Hitchin' a Ride, Let Me Take You Home Tonight. Those particular songs they went multi-platinum for this band. And I can say that when you think of classic rock, I really want to say between the years of 1976 to 1978. So a lot of really great artists. Now, here's something interesting for my lovers of Queen. The music is, from Queen. If you remember, a couple of things about Queen, which would fit right into your classic rock. So I don't know if you guys actually saw the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. That was actually in 2019. Now, here's a little trivia for you. All right. So here you go. In the year of, so when, I want to say when Freddie Mercury went the lead singer of Queen, and then you had, Brian May. So each one of the band members actually were very accomplished in different areas. Actually, I want to say one of them actually was going to go to for a dentist. And I don't know if you know this, but Bohemian Rhapsody actually took 16 years to get on to actually come into to actually be a thing. Now, when they came out with that, because it was like this rock opera, so it was very dynamic. But if you look at what that time era actually meant, you're talking Freddie Mercury, we are talking Prince, you're also talking David Bowie. Now, the thing about David Bowie and Freddie Mercury and David Bowie did a song called Under Pressure. Yes, it is Under Pressure. And it's one of the pivotal parts in the movie of Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I also like to, educate you on these artists because they play they were not only music legends, but they were iconic to the music scene. Now, I often talk about women in rock or women who rock. Yes, that's basically what it is. All right, I have a great question here for you. All right, so if you know this little ditty right here, I often ask the question, so for George, it's not George of the Jungle, but George was looking for who? George was looking for George Thorogood was looking for his destroyers. So this is George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Now, you probably are familiar with the song Bad to the Bone. Now, interestingly enough, Bad to the Bone has been remade many, many times over the years. Yep, many, many times over the years. So, yep, correctamundo. Such a beautiful song. All right, so a little trivia on this song. So this little ditty right here is called Smoke on the Water. Now, Smoke on the Water is such a iconic song right here. So yeah, Deep Purple was the band that actually came out with this song. And you can tell because they had such a unique riff to the sound. Yes. All right, so I, on my audience, so if you guys if you like this program and you want a little more of this, I actually come on Wednesday nights at 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. You can tune in to Facebook Live. I also am on TikTok at Metal918. That again is April, Hey Ape Frampton at Facebook. And then I do the same thing on TikTok at Metal918. Yep, Metal918. And there you go. And I want to give a shout out to USA Global TV and Radio, and I want to give it out to Dr. Jacqueline. If you have not checked them out, go and check out their website and check out all the great things that they do for entrepreneurs such as myself and other artists. So check it out, guys. Yes, got to give a shout out there again to USA Global TV and Radio. All right, let's see. We're gonna do this one. All right, so this is actually one of my favorite spins, one of my favorite songs right here. All right, yeah. All right, so that band is probably near and dear to me because that is actually a band called April Wine. April Wine. So there's another band during the same time genre that sounded very similar. It is this is April Wine, and then there's another band called Yes, 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 just as it sounds, Yes. That a lot of people get the two bands a little bit mixed up. So this is actually called Roller. That is the song right there is Roller. Mm-hmm. Now you probably recognize this little ditty right here. All right, we're going to stop it right there. So that's another. So that song right there is by a band called the Hollies. Now the Hollies, actually, I would say that they are probably more from like the late 60s and going into the 70s, but they are still considered classic rock because many of these bands during this time came out from 1976. Now think about this. All right. So I don't know if you guys can see right behind me, behind my head over here, MTV. Now, like I said, during the classic rock era. So let me hurry and educate you a little bit on the music genres. Okay, so you had the early 50s, which was a lot of, you did have a lot of gospel, you had a lot of blues and like that side of music. I mean, rock and roll, stuff like that. Then you get into the 60s, and that was peace, love, you had 1967, which was right for Woodstock. And then you went into the 70s. Now, the early 70s was a very great transitional period for many artists. And then you had the mid 70s that went into what I say that you had, what was interesting, you actually had a division by three. Now, what do I mean a division by three? You had the early rock and roll, which a lot of the music that is developed over, through this time has a very certain sound to it. Now, if you play a riff from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s to today, you are going to hear a different ringtone, difference in the playing, the drums, the snares, the guitars, the way it sounds. And I mean, especially when you start getting into auto-tuning. Yeah. So we'll leave it there. But here's what's interesting during this time when there was a lot of transitions. So in the early 60s, I mean, like I said, we're going to talk like Woodstock going into the 70s. But when I talk about the trifecta, okay, so you have classic rock. Then you also have going into the punk, the disco, all right? So you have classic rock. Then you've got a lot of the boogie, baby. It's all boogie. Yeah, so you have a little bit of the disco scene, okay? A little, Casey and the Sunshine Band, a little of this. And maybe you even recognize some of these. Now, if you guys are Guardians of the Galaxy fans, and if you have seen either Guardians 1 or Guardians 2, Guardians of the Galaxy has a beautiful soundtrack because in the first part of it, you will hear a lot of music during the classic rock. Now, one of them is Come and Get Your Love by the band is called Redbone. Yep. Let's see. So I'm going to see if I can actually give you a little clip of Redbone, which is, is a great rendition to, just that music time right here. So let's see. You remember Come and Get Your Love? Now, this is by a band called Redbone. Whoops, sorry. We're gonna turn that down for a second. I'm just gonna play that first 5 seconds, and so just so that you can know what I'm talking about, right here. Okay, and hey, that is Redbone. Come and Get Your Love, and like I said, it was just for the fact of bringing so that you kind of understood where I'm coming from. So you kind of hear that a little bit of a different style. Now, one other, let's see. All right, so we're going to leave it there. Now, another really great, I would say another really great band that came out of that time genre is the band ELO. Now, if you're not familiar with ELO had a very, I want to say, it just had a very iconic sound to their music. Okay, so this is okay, so this would be from that same. All right, so that was actually Mr. Blue Sky. Now, if you remember, Mr. Blue Sky was in Guardians of the Galaxy. All right, we're gonna stop it right there. I mean, who doesn't like a little Guardians of the Galaxy? How about Dark Lord? How about Groot? So that is a great. I mean, that is such a great memory, from that time, from that time period. So as I was getting to the trifecta, okay, so you had the classic rock, which was right mid 70s, like classic rock, right in that era. But I don't know how many of you guys remember American Bandstand. Now, American Bandstand was right at the latter part when it came out in, the late 70s, and then going into the 80s. Now, what's interesting, if you look back at this time frame, I mean, we are talking Dick Clark, all right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the age right here. If you have not had an opportunity to check out Dick Clark, I highly recommend my music fans checking out Dick Clark, because a lot of artists, if you go back and look at, they had the music coming on. They had, let's see. Yes, they had the music coming on, and you would know all of, American Bandstand. Now, you had artists like, Casey and the Sunshine Band. You had Blondie. Yeah, Blondie. Deborah Harry. I still remember. And here was what was interesting. Prince was actually on an episode of American Bandstand, but here's what was interesting. There was like such an awkward pause that, that because Dick Clark was asking Prince, like, how many instruments that he played. And he's like, all of them. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, like all of them. So we're going to go ahead and do a little, so here is a little snippet right here. Here's, like I said, here is, okay, here's a good one.
This rainbow leads to creamy, sprinkled brownie delight.
Sorry, guys. All right, so I'm going to give you just a little snippet. And this one, so this one's going out to Blondie is basically what this is. So we're going to go ahead. All right, so this was one of the songs. This is one of the songs. So this was called Blondie Heart of Glass. All right, so just a little clip it right there. So that is Blondie, Deborah Harry, and here is something interesting also. Deborah Harry actually played in movies. She did soundtracks and she's done some movies, so you can check her out. You can check out Deborah Harry. She is great, Deborah Harry. And you probably remember One Way or Another. There's also Blondie. There's one that she did. It was called Dreaming. Yep, Dreaming. Blondie Dreaming. All right, this is taken straight off the soundtrack of American Bandstand right here. So this was introducing Blondie. Now, here's what's interesting about this particular artist, okay? So we talked about the classic rock. We talked about the 60s, 70s, classic rock, which was off the hook. Blondie was actually in the UK considered punk rock. So Blondie came out on the scene and she had a very iconic look, her sound she really paved the way. Blondie is actually in her 70s. So when you talk about women in rock, are you serious? She nailed it. She changed music history. I mean, you have great artists. You had Blondie, you had Joan Jett, Lita Ford, Chrissy Hynde of the Pretenders. So if you guys like what you're seeing, there again, follow me you can tune in on Wednesdays at April Frampton on and that is on Facebook. There again, it's I do a 10 o'clock program, excuse me, on TikTok at Metal918. All right, here we go. I am going to, let's see. Here is another iconic artist that came from this time. All right, I'm going to play this one. So here, interestingly enough, when a little history on Joan Jett, okay? So a lot of people think that Joan Jett was always Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. No, actually Joan Jett came, when she started, Joan Jett was solo because she was in a band called the Runaways. Now, if you don't know who the Runaways are, you had Cherry Curry, Cherry Bomb, all right? And then you had the talented Lita Ford and Joan Jett. All right, here you go. All right, and there you go. That's a little clip of Joan Jett. Now, here is something interesting about Joan Jett. So during this time of Joan Jett, she actually topped the charts. She actually did multi-platinum. This particular song did top the charts. I absolutely love Joan Jett. I love what she did for women in rock. Yes, Joan Jett was always very punk rock. She didn't really care what people had was thinking. But here's something interesting. Here's a little snippet for you. Joan Jett was actually turned down by several record labels. They did not want to carry her. And so her producer, who has been with Joan for literally over, 40 years of her career, really stuck it out with her. And that is when she transitioned into Joan Jett and her Blackhearts. And there you go. Let's see. All right, we're going to do one more little snippet. We have just a few more seconds. Like I said, guys, if you like the music that you heard tonight, you can actually, if you have Apple playlist, I would talk about getting classic rock essentials. That has a lot of great classic rock from this era that I have been educating you in and talking about. If you like some of the women that you have heard and you want to put a playlist together, I'm going to go ahead and suggest Joan Jett, Lita Ford, Chrissy Hynde from the Pretenders, Miss Lizzie Hell. I mean, these are some very iconic voices to listen to and to take to the next level. Yes. So that is what I would say for that. And I do appreciate there again. Thank you to Dr. Jacqueline for having me on this program. And it has been a pleasure spending the night with you, educating you on another edition of Fun Facts and Trivia. It's all about music, fun facts and trivia, music, film, and TV. And let me go ahead and do one more shout out to USA Global TV and Radio. Check them out. All right, guys. I know that this is not the first or the last that I will be able to come on and present to you another edition of Fun Facts and Trivia. All right, guys. Have a great night. And I will catch you cats at the next live. Peace out. And remember, keep rocking.